Welcome to the Cosmic Blueprint. Thank you for being here. The reason I've gathered you here today to look at the super pretty presentation is because I've been studying and putting together this system of systems, for years now. And I'm here to make public what has been private for a while. So the Cosmic Blueprint answers questions like, why am I like this? Who am I? What am I here for? And what am I even? And in case you're wondering, you are a slice of life, a sliver of eternity. You are a piece of God. So this particular section of the Cosmic Blueprint is about getting to know the individuations of Source as coins and their constituents. So we'll be breaking down what a coin is. What is a hexagram? How do we get to six and hexa? What is everything? So yeah, we're gonna get to everything, and we're gonna take our time. So my philosophy here is that we are the sun, the moon, and all the stars merely pretending to be human. That's the way I see it. So this cosmic blueprint is essentially a scavenger hunt for yourself, because you're everything. But in order to know what everything is, we need contrast, we need, axes and spectrums and all these other things to be on to figure out who we are in relation to ourselves. So I like to think that life is also a fun house, and everything in it is a distorted reflection of your infinite self. And life is also a game. It's meant to be fun. It's way more fun if you know how to play it. And right now, we're going to be going on a scavenger hunt through the cosmos, through your psyche, through life on this earth to figure out who you are and how to be it. So, a long, 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 long time ago, at the very beginning of time, all that is wanted to experience existing, but there was nothing else to know itself in relationship to. So it decided to divide itself, to learn, grow, and perceive itself by utilizing the illusion of separation from itself. This illusion was so convincing that it lost itself inside itself, and here you are now in search of yourself once again. So, with this scavenger hunt, we will be searching not in the blueprint, we'll be searching in real life. This is just a map and a navigation system to show you where to go. What are we looking for? Power. The reason we have all of this energy invested within us is for us to utilize it. So, in the Cosmic Blueprint, we will be doing the process of reclamation of power through archetypal nomenclature. So, this specific tab, because there's lots of tabs in the Cosmic Blueprint, more are being made as we speak. I don't know if it'll ever be a complete thing because there's infinite depth in all of these systems, but this is the foundations. So, you're basically a detective, and you're just collecting clues, to figure out who you are and why. And the hints have been scattered everywhere, so you can find yourself everywhere. So as we go collecting our coins, reclamation of power begins with awareness of our creative and destructive potential, because it's all neutral. As divine beings created in your own image and likeness, you are the process of creation itself being lived through each and every one of us and every other aspect of creation. So the cosmic blueprint, each unit of consciousness will be referred to as a coin. So we're going to get a lot more deep into this as we progress. So what constitutes a coin? We have a planetary placement, which has an element and a modality, and it exists on 3 levels of density. And really, it's all just a hexagram, which is an archetype composed of storylines. So each coin, each container of consciousness is a piece of God, it can be broken down into even smaller constituents. That's what these things are. And if you paid a lot of attention in math, you'll probably recognize this as PEMDA.S. Yay! Planet energy, modality, density, archetype, and storyline. This is what we will be using to personify your planetary placement and get to know each aspect of awareness that dwells within you so that you can give it a name, claim its power, and use it as your own, for it is yours. You were born powerful. We are all infinitely powerful. And yeah, so PEMDAS is not just planet energy, modality, density, archetype, and storyline. It's just the power and the forces of nature that exist within all things. There's energy in all things, and all of that energy has to move a certain way. That's what the modalities are. And there's divinity on every level of density. There's divinity on each side of the coin, heads, tails, in the rim. And then there's awareness in a form. And that's what archetypes are. It's just awareness of a thing or of nothing or whatever. And the storyline is the rung of the ladder of the hexagram. We'll get more into that later. But yes, so in this tab, this is really like a textbook. It's kind of like the first chapter or so. This is a nice foundation for what even is a planetary placement and how deep, excuse me, does each one go. So yeah, each planetary placement is a celestial body in your field of awareness, saying my unconscious Earth is in Virgo, or I'm a Virgo design Earth. All of the planets in your birth chart are activating gates in the body graph. And yeah, each coin represents a planetary placement in your birth chart, body graph. It's all just the angles of how all the different planets relate to Earth within you, within your mind, body, spirit, within your chart. And this really tells you like where energy resides within your body. That's what human design is in the simplest form. So, and then we look at the body graph. If you look at the bottom right, this shows you where to look at for all of these things. This is essentially a map, and you get to look at your body graph and find out where energy is within you. So, how do we get all of these hexagrams? So, if you cut the year into 12 slices like a pizza, because you are a pizza god, you would get each of the 12 zodiac signs. But if you cut it into halves and halves and halves and halves and halves a certain amount of times, you get the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. And you can clearly see that that looks like a pizza cut into enough slices. So yes, you have two birth charts essentially. That's what the body graph is composed of. One governs the conscious mind, one governs the unconscious mind, which is essentially the body. Yeah, so the mind and the body are distinct entities. Oh yeah, while we're here, lesson number 1, if you missed it in one of the other videos, is that there's a mosquito, and now there's no mosquito. So yeah, you are not your mind, you are not your body, and you are not your spirit, for they are all yours. And if they're yours, what does that make you? We'll sit with that. So, yes, these are all of your planetary placements. They're not you. These are things that you are responsible for because they exist within your consciousness, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. And these are all like variables to play with in your manifestation practice. So, ideally, you would have materials to study anything in life. I don't really know what's going on. I hope that's not loud in here. But yes, so for each of the planets, this is just one very oversimplified guide of what each planet is. But what really matters is, what does each planet mean to you? Because every planetary value means something different in the mind of the beholder. So these are just the signs and the symbols, and you get to determine what these words even mean to you as you do your own studies. And then, like I said, life is a game. It's supposed to be fun. We're going to be using all of these controls and buttons and triggers to make cheat codes and access codes to access different aspects of your consciousness. So, this is here as a reference page. You don't have to try to memorize all of this stuff now. It's just there for reference and inference. Lots of fearances. But yes, now we have the elemental energy here. It's the energy to embody. So as you're getting to know each one of your personal placements and giving them a personality, and even an alter ego, you would go to the aura analysis tab to see how they're all color coordinated and what feels like homeostasis to you. So we have everything's color coded based off the Rubik's Cube, because even here we have fire opposing air on that spectrum, and then blue opposing green on this spectrum, and there's a lot more philosophy of this. This is literally the other half of my philosophy of we are the sun, the moon, and all the stars. Erno Rubik, when he made this, was talking about like the actual interconnectedness of everything. You change one thing here, you change something everywhere, and it all just goes back around and around the same square. Anyway, yeah, these are your internal climate. So everything's color coded right now by hand. Hopefully, soon there will be more technological advancements in everything, but I'm doing all of this by myself. More on that later. But yes, then there's the 8 trigrams, that are also more specific elemental energy to connect to when getting to know each of your placements based off the Bagua. So yeah, this is just to encourage more curiosity and learning. So it's like, I want you to look at this and be like, what does mountain mean? And then you go and figure out what that means to you, and then you write it down. Or you just think the thought and never think about it again, and the thought is lonely and goes back to the void and does not come. Whatever is more fun, do that. So, yeah, when 2 trigrams love each other, they come together and make a hexagram. So, yeah, 3 plus 3 equals 6. Yay! See, math is easy. So easy. So, now we move on to the modality. This is about how all the different energies move through you. So, for instance, if you have a lot of cardinality in you, that's initiatory energy. So, you would summon the part of you that has a lot of cardinality, maybe like an Aries placement or so, to start initiating things for you. If maybe you have a lot of fixed energy that doesn't really like starting stuff. And then if you're trying to complete a task, ask one of the mutable signs of you to get the thing over with so that it's done. Yeah. So then you get to like switch gears. So we just look to the God process. So yeah, let's proceed. If you ever hear me say the word God, I'm referring to life itself, the process of life being lived, the processes of generation, operation, and destruction that exist within all things within existence. It's a cycle. So when you're working with each of the modalities, know that cardinality is generation energy, fixedness is operation. It's making sure that things are fixed to a course. And, we grow and then we eventually decay. And destruction is a part of life. It's the end goal. Death is the final destination. So, yeah, lots of other things to be gathered from everywhere. But yeah, it's all, the Tao. It's all the flow of things. Oh, yeah, and scrolling back just un poquito. So yeah, just for the visual there, the 64 slices of pizza, I like to think of them as the 64 love languages, and these are just all the different ways that all these energies get to know each other and flow. So yeah, so of course combining your human design type with your actual modalities and all the other ways that inertia works with your life and your system, as you know, this is all about the science of differentiation. We're all literally built different. So using all of these things are just tools to help you, figure out, how do I create best? In what environments do I flow the best and the most easily and seamlessly? Yeah. You're not supposed to look at all the stuff and memorize it. No, 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 don't do that. Just refer to it. And then, yeah, be aware that there's density. You know, life is hard because it's dense. We're all just living in different levels of the dream. You can be lucid at every level, but yeah, we have the mind, the body, the spirit. There's the three sides to each coin. You're a triune being. Everybody's a holy trinity. And yeah, we have the physical plane, which is the subconscious. The mental plane is the conscious. The spiritual plane is the superconscious. And when they all come together, they create you, your observable universe, because you are connected to everything that you have ever perceived and will ever perceive. Mainly because the only thing you ever experience is your own nervous system. More on that later. The experience is internal. That's really all we need to know now. But you're the one in charge of operating your your life, your placements, your existence here. It's all you. How you respond, how you react, how you trust yourself. Yeah, your life is entirely about you, and you are impacted by everything in your life. So this is actually a call to action. To If you want to change the world, you change yourself, and changing yourself, you change the rest of you, which is the rest of your life. But anyway, just back on a more individual timeline. The goal is to just have the mind, body, and spirit be in supra-conscious awareness and harmony together. When the subconscious and super are all together, that is supra-conscious awareness in alignment. And no one's going to be 100% even in all ways at all times. Sometimes you got to let the mind lead, sometimes you got to let the body lead, sometimes you got to let the spirit take a break. But yeah, as long as y'all just come together, like at least for meals or something, you and all of you. And yeah, so as your metaphysical trainer, I'm here to help you get your life in shape. So yeah, as formless beings, we need a shape to be in. A shape to be in is their body. So if you're in your body, you're in shape. If you're alive, you're winning. Keep it up. And you can just define what winning means to you, and define all the parameters that you'd like. Yeah, there's lots to do here. Oh, yes, and then we get to the archetypes of awareness. These are the aspects of awareness to appreciate within yourself. So it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to get very mathematical later, but this is more literary. So we're going to go to the fun parts and do parts analysis, because that's a whole other tab in the Cosmic Blueprint to look at. This is just the tab that shows you what tabs to take into consideration as you're, tripping and exploring on information. So yeah, whatever mythologies and theosophies are living within you and the stories that, you're telling yourself, they permeate your entire existence. So it's nice to invoke them intentionally so you can take the plot into your own hands. So yeah, more on how the 64 love languages got split up and sliced and diced together. Yeah, each expression of source represents the infinitely many ways that all that exists relates to itself through each of us. Yeah, once you become aware of what each archetype is, you can go over to the fun parts tab to really get to know what each character is. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to um, get to know each one, like assigning crystals, assigning characters, mythological creatures to each one. So yeah, this is a guided journal. This is just a textbook. Yeah, and then you got into your real life and actually connect to people, with the gates and channels that you have. This is about relationships in real life, not just your relationship to the information. And then, yeah, so with PEMDA.S, because this is just about specificity. So, like, if your gate 64 is line 6, that means it's the actual sixth line, or the sixth rung of the ladder, of the hexagram. Yeah. So, yeah, and the gene keys, so you say this is like a line, whatever purpose, or whatever the spirit actually is. So, this part is for scripting. So, once we have all the information uncovered about what everything is, then we're going to actually implement it and integrate it all. And yeah, so you're going to use the Golden Path tab, that section. It shows you each thing in order. And then you just keep scrolling all the way over to the right, one placement at a time, get to know each one. And then, we're going to transcend transference. Because each hexagram is composed of a combination of lines that are either the yin or yang, positivity, negativity, or neutral. Remember that, kids. Yeah, these lines are like rungs on a ladder, but the ladder is a circle and it's just spiraling around back to itself. Yeah, in the Golden Path tab, you'll be able to see what each line means in a human design lens, and the I Ching lens, and the Gene Keys lens, because they're all just three different sides of the same coin. We're just, yeah, interpreting everything. Yeah, so ideally, once you really get to know each of your coins, then they all get to know each other. So yeah, in the fun parts tab, you'll see that let each one teach one. That's what this image on the left represents. But yes, you are the author, narrator, and main character of your life story. You're the one responsible for deconditioning your consciousness and reprogramming your reality, literally like a computer, and literally with words, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. Spells are wonderful on pen and paper. Yeah, the primary purpose of the Cosmic Blueprint is for you to use your coins to create your own permission slips to travel through time with increased awareness, precision, and accuracy. You can also utilize the 8 dimensions of discernment and the full ABCs of metaphysics to more effectively and efficiently navigate the multiverse in coordination with all of your placements. So, yeah, you get to coordinate your consciousness and code your coins. So, the most powerful spiritual practice that I've been utilizing with all of this is scripting, affirmations. So, the whole point of affirmations is to think and believe yourself into taking divinely aligned action. If you just write affirmations, don't believe them, they don't work, because they're supposed to think you into rooms. And then once you're in those rooms, you act. So, if we actually do an actual reading with you and your chart, we'll look a lot more into this. But, we're time traveling. You want to experience a point in time that has X, Y, Z, T, A, B, C, D, L, M, N, O, P, every little variable. It's really just 8. It's a lot simpler than this slide looks. But yeah, so for instance, my Gemini Sun is in Gate 35, which is boundlessness in the gene keys, but our human nature is what keeps us alive, and it's really the fight or flight responses that are, expressive or reactive natures. And then that's the physical level. And then on the mental level, there's like the level of discernment where you're actually using your conscious mind to intentionally climb the ladder, connect to each rung, and then like spiritually, it's because we are these boundless, timeless creatures whose purpose in nature is to love unconditionally. But being human, we have to love conditionally and use discernment to create these conditions for success so that we can thrive together and everybody can have their own space and time, because Earth is big enough if we use all the space that we have. So yeah, the shadow level of each coin is what connects us to our humanity. And in order to experience them as gifts, we must see the light in their shadows and embrace their divinity objectively. So, in your manifestation practice, this means utilizing discernment to deliberately, which means take the freedom out of, and intentionally tap into both sides of your coins simultaneously and then roll with them. So, yeah, with my Gemini Sun in Gate 35, when I'm restless, bored, and manic, which are the victim patterns, which is the desire to experience, my hunger for adventure, and that is inviting me to experience my boundlessness through collaboration. So the pink words are the mental level, that's the discernment, and you also look at the center that the placement exists within, and that helps you, intentionally how to collaborate. So since this gate is in the throat center, this is a lot about like manifestation and collaboration through communication. So that's why I'm communicating all of this information with you right now. And yeah, this might be a lot to look at. Oh, I have notes. Yeah, so this is about integration of all the information we've uncovered here, taking embodied action. And by that, eat your gene keys and exercise your cities, and then study your shadows and practice your gifts, and flow with the Tao while you're at it. Yay. Shout out to me for writing that. And yeah, most importantly, the whole point of all of this information is to ultimately have fun and enjoy life as your most authentic and radiant self. So, thank you for being here once again. This presentation was brought to you by the My Wallet Foundation, a for profit organization in support of Jair Griffin, and the Quintessential Academy of Astromancy and Alchemy, which will only be made possible by you. That is the real reason why I've gathered you here today on these interwebs to speak to you through whatever device you're, and taking this all in with. So I have the Kaleidoscope as a community where I've been gathering all my astromancer and artistic friends. And this Academy of Astromancy and Alchemy, this will essentially be built in the Kaleidoscope. So if you'd like to join the Kaleidoscope, please do that. The link will be somewhere around, easy to find. If you'd like to donate to my wallet to keep me alive, that that would be lovely. Please do that because it's time for my funds to increase so that no other artist or astromancer has to live the life that I've been living this past week. A lot of stuff has to end now, but more details elsewhere. But yes, please donate to both of these missions and support in whatever ways you feel would be best. If you'd like to book a reading with me, please do that. Oh yeah, more details on what this academy will even be. So all the details will be in the Kaleidoscope, but the gist of it is that I'm just trying to unify all of us together so that we can think together, manifest together. I'm here for the people of this planet. We have everything that we need to make Earth a wonderful time. It is our responsibility as divinity embodied to create heaven on this very Earth. So, my mission is to remind everybody that we're all God made man, God made woman, God made whoever you chose to be, whatever form you chose to take. It's all the process of life, it's all some facet of existence. And with great power comes great responsibility. We, as teachers and students, have the responsibility to learn and teach the information that we've been given. And this is me doing my part. I'm leading. I'm taking the first step to present this information in hopes that people that agree can come vibrate and resonate with me and we can discuss and go further. And people that disagree can live their lives elsewhere because Earth is big enough. And I would just like to get all the people that want to make the world a better place together so we can, ooh, yeah, we need like ethics in the astromancy space and the spiritual spaces because I've seen too many tarot readings on my For You pages telling me stuff that I wanted to believe, most of which actually did come to pass. But believing the stuff that I've been told is highly irresponsible. But we have to have some sort of balance when we're trying to raise responsible rebels, because I'm a rule breaker. I'm alive because some rules are fragile enough to be broken. That's why I'm here today, because these systems, they gotta crumble some way, and it's up to us. So we gotta, we gotta do it sophisticatedly. There's a proper way to do everything. We don't have to burn the entire system down, just all the stuff that needs to be burned. We need to do a controlled burn, a nice pruning of these branches of government, and remembering that governments admit the people hold all the power. So I want you to reclaim all of your power, know yourself as divinity embodied, and embody every aspect of divinity that you please. So, yes. So, in terms of supporting these missions, if you want to just read my poetry book, that's about what all of this stuff is about. It's about loving yourself. Because love is what this power is really all about. Love yourself, you love other people conditionally and or unconditionally, depending on what your intuition says. But yeah, what else? Yeah, money. Money is great. Money is a wonderful thing. Money wants to be in the hands of the people that care about the planet. So if you care about the planet, allow money into your life to flow into and through you, and to me, and to whoever else, whoever's turn it is to have it. Money wants to go circulate. So yeah. And then this academy, I would like to be in communion with other astromancers and alchemists so that we can manifest together and have structure. And yeah, y'all get the gist. Thank you for being here. Enjoy life, and yeah, love yourself.